All right, back for another New England Patriots 2025 NFL draft target. Today we're talking about Oronde Gadsden II, wide receiver / tight end from Syracuse. In previous evaluations, I have highlighted big body receivers like Tech McMillan out of Arizona as some of my top targets for the New England Patriots in the 2025 NFL draft. McMillan, with his combination of size, speed, and athleticism, has remained a standout candidate in my analysis. However, as I dig deeper into the evaluation process, I find myself gravitating towards more defensive prospects, such as Abdul Carter in the first round or LSU's offensive lineman Will Campbell, as my top picks for the first round. This shift is based upon the evolving needs for the Patriots roster and the way the draft is shaping up. Despite this, I want to take a moment to discuss Oronde Gadsden as a player who was once at the top of my day 2 receivers for the Patriots in the 2024 NFL draft. Unfortunately, Gadsden's 2024 season was interrupted by an injury, and he ultimately decided to return to Syracuse for another year. However, I am now revisiting his potential as a day 2 or early day 3 pick in the upcoming 2025 draft. Should the Patriots decide to pass on a receiver like T. Higgins in free agency or Tech McMillan, opting for a more maybe agile receiver in free agency or a potential first round pick next year, or maybe one of those Z-type receivers that could be in the 2nd or 3rd round. Gadsden could emerge as an excellent fit. His size, versatility, and skill set make him a standout prospect, and he could add a significant dimension to the Patriots offense. With that in mind, let's dive a little bit deeper into Oronde's strengths and his impact on the field and why he could be actually a great option for New England. At 6'5" and 237 pounds, Gadsden is a physical specimen that should immediately grab the attention of NFL scouts and front offices. His combination of size, body control, and receiving ability allows him to thrive against defenders, making him a true matchup nightmare. Gadsden's physical traits give him an edge over defensive backs as well as linebackers, who often struggle to match his size and athleticism in contested catch situations and after the catch. His ability to use his body as a shield to win and jump balls, and his knack for creating separation in tight spaces makes him a threat to coverage at all levels of the field. One of Gadsden's most notable attributes is his versatility. He is capable of lining up in a variety of alignments, from the outside as a traditional wide receiver to the slot or moving in as a tight end. This flexibility will allow him to contribute to the offense in multiple ways and give coaching staffs a variety of schemes to work with. This versatility makes him an appealing option for the Patriots, a team who desperately needs a guy who can create mismatches in a variety of ways. Whether he's running a quick out or a fade or a crossing route, Gadsden's ability to create favorable situations for himself is an asset for the Patriots that could be leveraged as part of their offense. Now, in terms of production, this last year, 69 receptions for 860 yards with 5 TDs. Now in 2022, 61 receptions for nearly 1,000 yards and 6 TDs. Notably, out of all 4 years, no fumbles. In addition to his statistics, Gadsden's show of natural ability to excel in clutch moments should be noted. He frequently came through in critical situations, converting on 3rd downs and being a big red zone target. He's demonstrated an innate understanding of how to use his size to box out defenders and secure catches in high pressure moments. This is a quality that typically translates to the NFL. While Gadsden might not have elite speed compared to some of the top receivers in the draft class, his ability to create separation with quick cuts and strong hands and understanding of route timing is more than enough to make him effective at the next level. His agility and body control allow him to make defenders miss in tight spaces, and his size ensures that he's difficult to bring down once he has the ball in his hands. Now for play style, man, I see like Marcus Colston or Darren Waller. Just a big body receiver, super athletic. Although not an elite speed, his size and strength provide him with the tools to be a dominant force. Something that the Patriots again need. They're just missing that big body receiver. Now, before some of you get triggered about me highlighting a receiver who isn't 6'1", 195 pounds, and doesn't run in the 4.3s, I want you to hear me out about size versus separation misconception that some of the media tend to miss when trying to evaluate pass catchers. Not every receiver needs to get separation to catch a ball. In fact, some receivers are taught to look to close the gap to their D-back in man coverage because the closer they are to their defender, the more the advantage they have for a few reasons. If they're a bigger receiver, that is. One, their body size, reach, strength, and leaping ability will outclass their defenders in contested catch situations. So what? Why is that a big deal? Well, if you're a big dude, you want to get closer to the guy because that's when that has its most effectiveness. If your defender is away from you, they can get a running jump. They can see the ball better, right? Think about like Shaq versus Michael Jordan, right? Shaq will just get really close to Michael, and it doesn't matter what Michael can try to do when he's right against him, right? Because Shaq can just put his arm out, put the ball there. He's got it, backs down, bodies Michael out. It's over, right? Whereas if Michael is actually off guarding Shaq, he can see the ball, he can make a move on it. So for these bigger body receivers, they try to get out, they try to get even with their defender, right? And that is basically disabled their ability to use their speed and all the other physical attributes that are used to neutralize quicker, shiftier, more elusive, high separation wide receivers. And they can stick to guys who have a lot of movement at the top of their routes. That doesn't matter anymore. Doesn't matter what you do. He's already got you. By literally closing the distance, all that stuff doesn't matter anymore. Now you have a guy who's about 3 inches taller and outweighs you about 40 pounds. You're done. So not everything's about separation. It's about separation if you're not 6'5" and 237 pounds. Now for Gadsden, if you watch some of his tape, yeah, that's very evident. Especially on like quick slants and in cuts. Man, he gets right towards the guy, makes the move, gets 1 or 2 steps on him, ball's right there. Doesn't matter what the D-back was trying to do. He could have been a step behind him. Didn't matter because the ball was several feet out in front of him. Now, for some risks, I would go back to the injury. Gadsden's 2023 season was impacted by a foot injury, which led him to returning to Syracuse for another year. Now, despite this setback, Gadsden's recovery and development was not diminished. Admittedly, while the injury history might raise concerns, it is also important to evaluate how he responded and recovered, especially in terms of his overall athleticism and ability to contribute. I understand NFL teams are always going to be cautious when drafting players with injury histories, but Gadsden's body of work prior to the injury should still position him as a viable candidate. He was able to rebound and have a comparable season to 2022, which, reminder, made him a preseason early day 2 pick in the 2024 draft. Yeah, Gadsden, in the early season before his injury, was a relatively high wide receiver pick in last year's draft class. And just think about the receivers in last year's draft class. Now, another risk to highlight is he's listed as a tight end. Yes, his depth chart and roster designation at Syracuse is tight end. But look at the tape. Do you see a traditional tight end? Yeah, maybe you could say he's a joker tight end, but you can call him a big slot receiver if you like. But then again, he plays a large percentage of his snaps out at wide on the perimeter. He can play out there and can make those tough sideline catches. So before you start seething about how the Patriots are, quote, good at tight end, and we already have Hunter Henry and Hooper, and we just drafted Jaheim Bell, give Jaheim Bell a chance. Yeah, I get it. Well, do you think Hunter Henry or Hooper or Bell look or play like Gadsden? No. Gadsden's more of a big X receiver than an NFL tight end or a joker or H-back. He runs wide receiver routes too. Now, I am sure I'm going to hear from a number of wide receiver enthusiasts out there who will say he barely even runs routes. I get it. And although I'm not really sure what that means for them, but I would have to guess they are referring to him not taking a whole second to dance off the line of scrimmage or at the top of his route. But he gets to the mark. And the QB will throw the ball in anticipation that Oronde will be there. Not every receiver needs to add 2 seconds to his route to be open. We used to tell receivers that would throw excess amount of movements into their release or the top of the route to stop goofy guffing, because they would put huge movements into their route, but essentially go nowhere and would be late to their mark. The QB has 2 or 3 seconds to throw that ball. They can't wait for a receiver to put on a whole show. So receivers have to be physical enough to get through their route and get to the mark in time. Otherwise, that receiver is only good as a distraction. And if you watch college and NFL games, those are those receivers who get open eventually, and then they throw their arms up in the air as if the QB missed them. But they know very well they took too long to get to the spot. Oh man, I was open. Yeah, but a second too late. NFL offenses rely upon concepts and timing. That's why the NFL still goes towards those bigger body X receivers, because they can just physically get to the spot in time and they're not easily derailed by corners. They know where they need to go and they know when to look. They don't have time to put 2 extra steps into their route. Just keep that in mind when you're looking at receivers. Now, why should the Patriots even consider Gadsden? New England needs a big body receiver who can be physical, win jump balls, and provide reliable targets for Drake May in key moments. Considering their current roster of receivers, Gadsden would add a different dimension. Someone can line up in various positions and take advantages of mismatches, particularly in the red zone. And Oronde would be a great target, again, if they don't go after T. Higgins, or they decide not to go with Ted McMillan in the draft, and perhaps they go with more of a Z-type receiver earlier on. Of course, the Patriots do need to go after some big-body receivers, but there's also another long list of other priorities they might need, and Gadsden could be a great option on day 2 or early day 3. Again, he offers high upside as a big-body receiver capable of playing multiple alignments and excelling in high-leverage moments, something that definitely warrants attention from New England. Now, there's a couple big questions. One, will he even declare for the draft? It's possible that he does go back to Syracuse for another year. It looks like they're probably going to have a strong roster next year. Maybe he thinks, hey, I can go back, bolster my draft stock, be on a team that's going to contend for an ACC championship, etc. The other big question is, if he does actually declare, where will he actually fall? Will he be available for the Patriots? This guy is a physical freak. He's a big body receiver, which, although the draft has several of them, not his size. Not 6'5" and closer to 240. And if his 40 dash is in like the low 4.5s with a 10-yard split around 1.6, if his vert is like 35-inch plus, if his broad's over 10, if his bench is in the upper teens, if he gets his 3-coned around that 7.1 area, if his 20 yards between 4 and 4.2, he would probably be a solid day 2 pick, which, again, I'd be happy if the Patriots take him with one of those 3rd-round picks. And again, that is if he actually declares for this draft. Anyway, what do you guys think of Oronde? Should the Patriots target him? If so, when? Let me know in the comment section below. If you guys like this content, please like and subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching.